I'm not saying I have all the answers, but it's very fruitful to engage in discussion rather than one-sided lecture or talk. Okay, then I'll read a little bit from the text. Now, if we start a little bit about meditation, whatever practices you do, whether your practice is on compassion, or your practice is on loving kindness or bodhicitta, whatever, it can be done in many ways. Generally speaking, practice during the session and practice after the session. That's called post-meditative state. Meditative state and post-meditative state. The meditative state, or the time when you do the meditation, that is actually like charging the battery. Why do you charge the battery? You charge the battery so that you can use the flashlight when you go into darkness. Nobody will charge the battery and then use it in the broad daylight. Chirve. Nobody will do that. So that means you engage in steady meditation so that you get the needed vista, the vision, the power, the wisdom, so that you can deal with the post-meditative state. Meaning that after meditation, when you get up from the meditation, deal with your business, meet with so many people, then there is a likelihood of getting many problems. Right? So purpose of your meditation is to be able to benefit your post-meditative state when you meet with other people, when you do different kind of things. Just like the charged battery using in the darkness. When you go into the darkness, you need that charged flashlight. Now if that battery has not been charged, there's nothing to use. So similarly, if we have not meditated, then there's nothing. This is exactly what we have seen during the pandemic. Many people, they never developed any of the internal mental resources. They are not familiar with their mental power, mental resources. They don't know how to pull those mental resources out. They have never meditated, they have never practiced mindfulness and so forth. So when they experience that pandemic and asked to remain indoor, people had difficulty how to live alone. It's so strange. A number of people, especially in developed countries, committed suicide. Because as you know, in the Western life, you always are very fond of going out, partying with friends, eating in the restaurant. Hardly people cook inside, you see. So you're so much used with this socialization, going and mixing with people. Now suddenly, when you are deprived all of this and asked to remain inside, you don't know how to deal with it because there's nothing in your mind. You've always been like going out. This is a major crisis, major problem in today's world. We think that happiness will get from outside. That's why people are running with the speed of aeroplane now. We are running. Still we say late. I'm late. Oh, sorry, I'm late, And everybody, it has become a fashion to say that I'm busy. But to be busy is not important. What is important is, what are you busy about? In ancient Tibetan text, there is a saying which says, your feet are very, very swift, but you are not reaching to the place where you should reach. So we are exactly like that today. Everybody is running and busy, but we are not reaching to the place, we are not doing the things that we should be doing. That's why so many people are suffering from depression, loneliness, low self-esteem, I don't know what others. So many problems. So this is exactly what one of the Kadamba master, he said, the problem in the human society is we don't know how to live alone and also don't know how to live with others. Chikpur Dömusuwa, Kundan Dromesheva. Amazing. Meaning that if you want to live with others, then you should have love, should have affection, should have generosity and so forth. You don't have that. If you don't have that, learn to remain alone. You don't know that. And people in fact get confused with solitude and loneliness. People don't suffer from solitude. People who really go into solitude, they don't suffer. They enjoy life. But people who don't know how to live alone, they may be surrounded by millions of people in big cities. It's just a paradox. You may be living in a city with 10 million, 20 million people. Here is this fellow suffering from loneliness. So loneliness is not so much a physical loneliness, it's a mental loneliness. Not being able to connect to others with love, with affection and so forth. Right? Then we have meditators sitting high away in the mountain. Every day they connect themselves. They don't have mobile phone to connect. They don't have any internet to connect. Mentally they connect. The way to connect to Buddha, or if you want to talk about God, the way to connect to Buddha is not telephone. It's not mobile phone. It's mind to mind. Right? So similarly, when you have this mental feeling of being connected to everybody with love, with affection, you may be physically isolated, living high in the mountain, but you are basically surrounded by all these people. You are praying for their well-being, you see. You never feel lonely. That's different. So the point is that it is really your mind. So this mind, which is so crucial, which is your boss, take care of that mind. Develop these internal resources. And once you are able to develop all these mental internal resources, you can cope with any changes that might come in the future. And if you don't have that, you will be tossed around. Right? So therefore, 2 sessions, meditative session, post-meditative session. Now if you want to engage in the meditative session, then to be precise, that is also probably categorized into 3: preparation, actual meditation and conclusion. Now preparation. Now if you want to meditate, basically you can meditate anywhere. But if you have a nice place means a place which is clean and comfortable. If you can afford to do that, like a small room where you have the questions ready, and the questions, the way you arrange your questions also look like they're inviting you to come and sit, you see. So arrange that beautifully. Inviting place, clean, not smelly. Because if the surrounding is clean, it is said your mind will be clean, and there is likelihood of receiving blessings from Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and things like that. Nobody wants to visit a smelly, dirty room, bug, virus-ridden room, right? So cleanliness, clean your surrounding, and then you arrange at least the statues, and at least one statue of Buddha and one scripture. If you're not many, then it's okay. One statue of Buddha, and then one text, maybe Heart Sutra, small text, or Wisdom Perfection Sutra, Ku Sung Thu. So they're representing Buddha, Buddha's body, Buddha image. Representing Buddha's speech, scripture. Representing Buddha's mind, stupa. 3 things you should have. Okay. Now these 3 things, the Buddha's image and then the scripture and the stupa, whether they are made of gold or not, don't make any difference. They are not just your property or belonging, material property, but they are source of your receiving your inspiration, your blessing. So see them as something sacred, something important, not as another collection of your property. Okay? That should be there. And then in front of them make the necessary offerings. Offerings should be really nice. Normally we make these water offerings. Water offerings. What is important is the offerings should be pure and clean. And then you can also arrange some biscuits and tinned food and things like that. If you offer fresh food or tea or something like that, then make sure that you offer it and then clean it also. Sometimes we make an offering and leave it for 7 days or 10 days, Will you do like this to an actual guest? So make the offerings as if you're doing to a real person. Right? That's important. So that's the second practice out of the 6 preparatory practices, second practice. And then the third practice is then sit on your cushion, comfortable cushion. Comfortable cushion means the cushion should be slightly abreast at the rear, backside, slightly higher, so that you don't get, knee pain. And then observe a correct posture. Correct posture means comfortable, correct posture with straight back but not rigid. Purpose of meditation is relaxation, not for rigidity. The back should be straight but not rigid. When the back is straight, then the nerves and channels inside that backbone will be straight, and then energy flow, including the mind, will also be clear, right? So that you will be able to meditate more efficiently and clearly. Some people try to read books by lying down, then very soon they will fall into sleep. When you sit erect, your mind is more alert, more sharp. It really shows you want to do business, So that's important. And then take refuge to Buddha, Dharma and Sangha by reciting these words, Sanjishodna Sojishonamla, these 4 words. I take refuge to Buddha, Dharma and Sangha until I become enlightened. Through my practice of giving and so forth, may I be able to achieve Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. So there is cultivation of bodhicitta and taking refuge. These 2 are very important for a Buddhist practitioner. Taking refuge is a way to differentiate yourself from wrong paths. Cultivating bodhicitta is a way to differentiate yourself from inferior path or lower path. Inferior, lower path means a path where you think about just yourself. In the cultivation of bodhicitta, we talk about well-being of all sentient beings. So this you should recite and take refuge to Buddha, Dharma and Sangha and cultivate bodhicitta with a wish to become enlightened for the benefit of all sentient beings. And this recitation you should do until you are able to develop some feeling within your mind. Okay? That's important. And then in front of you, the 4th is visualizing the merit field. The 4th preparatory practice is visualizing the merit field, which means in front of you in the space, you should visualize all the lamas of the profound lineage and vast lineage. And similarly, the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Sarvakas, countless of them are there in front of you, in whose presence you are able to accumulate merit. So make that supplication. And then 5th is purifying negative deeds and accumulating positive deeds. Accumulating positive deeds and removing negative deeds. This is important because in order to cultivate those paths that we are talking about, as a facilitating factor, you need to cultivate the positive deeds. Or in other words, you need to cultivate facilitating factors so that you are successful in your practice, in cultivating the virtuous deeds. And then there are obstructive factors, negative deeds, which must be purified. Otherwise, you will not be able to proceed smoothly in your path. Therefore, the way to do that is the practice of the seven branched practice. Through that we should clean your mind. Now the seven limb, in the case of the seven limb practice, the first is paying homage, chal seva, paying homage. I will briefly explain all of them. Details you can read in the great stages of the path, and all the lamrims you can read it. So paying homage, in Tibetan it is called chak selva. Chak means to clean. Salva means to seek. That means to clean the impurities of your mind and seek the qualities of the enlightened beings. Chak selva. That's the meaning, chak selva. So when we do that prostration, or when we pay that homage, we bow down. By bowing down, you practice humility. When you develop humility, you become receptive. If you're arrogant, you will not pay any attention to anybody, right? So the first thing is, in India also we have namaskar, You namaskar, the Hindi word namaskar means I pay respect to the God in you. I respect the God in you. There's the meaning of the Hindi word namaskar. So that means in Buddhism also we can say that, because we accept that everybody has the Buddha nature inside everybody. Right? So that's important. Humility is very, very important. So therefore paying homage is a counterforce against arrogance. Okay? So then we have physical homage, verbal homage, mental homage. Physical homage means physically you bow down, and verbal homage is singing the praises of the enlightened beings. Mental homage is recalling their qualities. Out of these three, the mental homage is the most important thing. Because if your mind is not included, then physically you may be paying the prostration, making the prostration, verbally you may be singing the songs, but mentally you may be calculating money, dollar. Right? But when your mind is involved, then the wrongdoings by the body and the mind, by the body and the word, speech, automatically get stopped. So again here, the mind is most important. And the next is making offerings. All kind of offerings. I don't have to go into detail. There are so many offerings to make, Things that belong to you, things that don't belong to you. For example, things that don't belong to you means, for example, if you're traveling and you happen to visit a beautiful garden full of flowers, you can sit there and make that offering. There's a lot of debate in the Buddhist philosophical text. If you make such an offering, are you stealing? Because that garden doesn't belong to you. But then it's answered by saying, technically it is not stealing, because you are part of the human society, so you kind of share in it, and you are of course physically not destroying the garden, you see. So mentally offer all those things. So whenever it is possible, make physical offerings. When you have the capacity to make physical offerings, and then don't make it and then just mentally visualize it, it doesn't look so nice. But you can, if you are shortage of physical offerings, you can make those mental offerings also. So offerings may be garland, offering of incense, offerings of butter lamb, offering of cloth, offering of fragrant scents. So many types of offerings are there. Okay? The third is confessing the negative deeds. Confessing the negative deeds. As Milarepa said, if you are somebody who really concerned about how to purify the negative deeds, then the most important thing is confess. Reveal it, show it, and then make a promise that I will not repeat it again. Dikshape, ida sambandan jobachena thawais. If you are really concerned about how to purify the negative deeds, then the best way is to confess it. Shakwa is Tibetan word which is like Xing Shakwa. If you chop up a piece of wood, and then you can show what is there within that lump of log or tree. So like that, just show it, don't hide it. Then next is, fourth is rejoicing. Rejoicing is a very important practice, and also in a way relatively easy practice. If you are a little bit lazy, rejoice other people doing good things. If you are unable to do that, but you see other people doing good things, oh wonderful, rejoice it. There is a story in India, near a river, on two sides. On this side there was a courtesan, a women dancer or singer or something, beautiful women singer and dancer and things like that. So many people used to go to see her, sing, dance, whatever. On the other side there was a sannyas or sadhu or practitioner. Not many people visiting him, he's supposed to be in meditation and things like that. So the sadhu, the so-called practitioner, used to look at that woman from the other side of the river and said, oh, what a pitiable life, what a filthy life, All she does is like fooling the people, Not only she is not doing practice, but she is fooling so many people, wasting their time and doing all the nasty things. That so-called practitioner used to think like that. But this woman here used to admire, appreciate. I wish I'm also like him, he may be meditating, he may be practicing, so many things. So slowly with the passage of time, both of them died. And they ended up in the same place where the Lord of the death make the judgment or whatever. So the sadhu was there, the woman was also there. But then on the day of judgment, the Lord of the death, he asked the women, go to heaven. The sadhu was quite exasperated, he was shocked. This is unfair, I've been practicing and she is just a singer, dancer, how can you do this? He said, no. You were there in the ashram, but all you thought was negative things about these women, you see. You didn't do any sincere practice. Whereas she may be singing, dancing, but her mind was appreciating the good things, you see. So it's your mind. It's your mind really, at the end of the day. It's not the external outlook, you see. So many of you may be much, much better than somebody wearing a monk's robe like that, you see. This is your mind, okay? So what I was saying was rejoicing. Rejoicing at the good deeds of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Especially rejoicing the good deeds done by ordinary people. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, when they do great things, it's not surprising, they are enlightened. They are on an elevated state. But even these ordinary people, they are trying their best to do many good things. And this is something you should really see very clearly. And I see this very clearly. There's so majority of the people on this globe are really nice people. That's my source of encouragement, not with the stupid leaders. Majority of the people everywhere. I visited over 30 countries, believe me. Okay? I didn't spend much time, but I had opportunity to meet so many people. Majority of the people, they are trying their best to do something good, not to hurt others. They are generous, they are nice, you see. Right? So, there's every reason to rejoice their good doings. They are not Buddha, they are not enlightened ones. They are ordinary people, but trying to be good. Rejoicing. And then next is requesting the teacher to give teaching. Done the will of Dharma, as we said, requesting to give the teaching. Because in the case of good teachers, they have to be requested, not a volunteer like me, as I already announced, Good teachers, they have to be requested. But profit-oriented teachers, marketeers, they are teachers who are marketeers. They will of course make big advertisements, say, come and attend my teaching, enlightenment in 1 week and all those things. Right? Whereas good teachers, you have to request them. Okay? But then there is an exception. I'm supposed to be following that exception. If you know there are people who are interested and without any other wrong motivation, and especially if they are unable to request you to give the teaching, but you know that there will be people who want to get this teaching, then you can give the teaching. That's also there, okay? So I have not completely violated the rule, okay? Then the sixth is requesting the enlightened masters not to pass away. This morning people offered long life offering to His Holiness the Dalai Lama. That means not to pass away. And that makes huge difference. That shows that the teacher is wanted, right? So therefore it is important to tell the teacher clearly that you want him stay along with you. That's important. And then the next finally is dedication. Dedication. Dedication means whatever good things you do, having done that good thing, you should dedicate it by saying that may this good thing that I've done become a cause to become enlightenment, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So it's like depositing your money in the bank, where even if you don't get much interest, hopefully it will not be lost. I'm using the word hopefully because these days nothing is sure. Okay? So dedicate it. Then it's not lost. If you don't dedicate it, then it is said that in the next moment after you've done the good thing, if you get angry, all those good things you have done already may be destroyed, may be lost. But if you have dedicated it, it will not be wasted. So these are the 7 limb branch practice. All right, I'll stop here. Thank you. See you tomorrow.